What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my very own free hit draft for the upcoming Blank Game Week 34. So the time to use the last chip is upon us for the 2024/25 season. Yes, the free hit will be my last chip activated from now to the end of the season. So let's hope that it's going to be a banger of a game week. And even though double game week 33 is still going to be occurring over the next few days, I wanted to get my free hit draft out there for you guys as it's been highly requested. A question also asked to me over on Discord quite a lot was, has my free hit been activated? Am I catching those price rises and those price drops? Honestly, no, but you guys don't have to worry. There's plenty of money in the bank on this draft. So in this video, I won't be talking about how double game week 33 is going. It's purely going to be around the free hit draft. And then in the team selection later in the week, we'll go over all that good stuff about my own team performance. So if you guys want to see how my first free hit draft is shaping up, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. Now the first talking point I want to go over briefly is going to be the fixtures. I always say any free hit draft, the bread and butter of the draft is going to be the fixtures. As with your team only needing to perform for one game, you really want to target those key fixtures. Then the team selection later in the week will go over the projected goals, predicted clean sheets, all that good stuff. But let's go over an initial kind of review of what fixtures to target. Now I think the title of free hit 34 is basically target those relegation teams, as Ipswich, Southampton as well as Leicester all have great matchups. So obviously I'm not talking about targeting those specific sides, but target the teams they're playing against. For example, Newcastle Ipswich, the first game I would definitely have a triple up from. Now we also have Wolves vs Leicester. There might be some spicy differentials there. Not many free hitters will probably have Wolves assets in their squads. And the final team, Fulham, who have been pretty strong this season, travel to Southampton. Now unfortunately, two teams have already been confirmed relegated. That's Leicester plus Southampton. So that actually makes those games quite tricky. On the one hand, you might have kind of low motivation. These players might already be relegated. They might be thinking to themselves, what's the use of kind of playing these fixtures? On the other hand, these players might actually be playing with zero pressure and therefore some free-flowing football might occur. I do think, however, that's not going to be enough for me to avoid targeting these relegation squads, and therefore I would recommend probably a double up, even a triple up on those specific three teams. That's Newcastle, Wolves plus Fulham. Now obviously there's also another big fixture to occur here. That's going to be Liverpool taking on Spurs. As if Liverpool do win, they win the title. At Anfield, I think this game is going to be absolutely electric, and therefore I do favour the attack more than the defence, but someone like a Trent could be in your thoughts. The one fixture I probably will be avoiding is going to be Forest taking on Brentford. That game can't really see too much of an upside in that selection, but a popular asset like Mbumo could be quite secure on penalties, set pieces, and all that good stuff. In and around there, we've got Bournemouth United, probably would avoid that. Chelsea Everton, Chelsea's form isn't that great, but a Chelsea defender could be quite strong with the Everton attacking form. There are definitely though some great matchups this game week and some big differentials. Although the structure of kind of a triple up from the relegation opponents, I think within the squads there could be some variation. Looking forward to going over those numbers in terms of the kind of projected clean sheets and predicted goals. I just want those numbers to settle as we get through the week. So now let's go on to the actual free hit draft. As mentioned, no team review of how double game week 33 is currently going. But a shout out to all that money in the bank. I've got 2.0 with a pretty stacked bench, as you guys will see later. So you guys should be able to afford this draft, but if you can't, just comment down below and I'll give you some variations. So the first team I want to talk about is going to be the kind of best fixture in terms of the storyline. It's going to be those Liverpool assets. And I think a mainstay in your team is probably going to be Mo Salah. Currently got the Kamsi armband on him. This might change if you guys do want a good differential. But as a Liverpool fan, I'm just hoping Salah scores a bunch of goals against Spurs. I'm hoping so much, in fact, I've gone for the double up with Luis Diaz. This could become Gakpo or Jota if we look at some projected lineups though. Between Jota, Diaz and Gakpo, it's kind of hard to predict who's going to start up front. And I do favour that kind of out of position striker that Slot's been playing. Diaz is slightly more versatile though, can play on the left side but also up front. And that's why I've gone for the Colombian as my second double up with Liverpool. Now you guys might have a different variation. You could actually select someone like an Mbumo instead of a Diaz. Definitely probably a better FPL asset. Now another team I want to talk about is going to be Newcastle. Now we kind of go on to those targeting relegation plans, and I think a triple up of Newcastle is pretty essential. Now my defender of choice, I think that there could be a clean sheet chance here as well as some attacking threat, and that's I've gone for Kieran Trippier in this defensive position. Since coming back from injury, he does look okay, and that's why I'm going to go for the more expensive defender. Certainly have the money to spend, but you guys could go for someone like a Fabian Schär. Then the midfielder selection is quite tough between Murphy as well as Harvey Barnes. The only reason I've gone for Barnes is that he's in better form, and Jacob Murphy was subbed earlier for Anthony Gordon. So I don't exactly know how long Gordon's going to be out of that starting 11, and that's why I'm going to go for the player in better form, and that's Harvey Barnes. Then up front, I've gone for a little bit of a no-brainer. It's Isaac. Might be a Campsey shout there, but the form isn't looking the best. But I guess Salah's form isn't great either. But just a simple no-brainer, I guess you guys could bank on him blanking as he's a very high effective ownership player, and even people not on a free hit will probably own him. I don't really see a reason though not to select him, so he's in my free hit draft, and I think he's going to do pretty well. Now cue the next relegation opponent, and that's going to be Wolves. The first selection I've gone for is going to be Sarr. He's currently injured though, so just watch out that he's back for Game Week 34. If he's not, maybe in the press conference we get some indication Bentley is a fine replacement. Only side annoying thing is that I haven't gone for the double up with the goalkeepers, as I want 2 outfielders. So that might be a concern there, but if he is out injured, I guess I could go for someone like an Alisson against Spurs, or someone like a Sanchez who has an Everton fixture that is pretty strong defensively. But at the moment, I've said target the relegation teams. That's exactly what I'll be doing, and I guess Wolves did keep a clean sheet against United on the weekend. The next 2 players though are kind of no-brainers in my opinion. Ait Nori, 2 weeks ago he had that massive attacking haul, and he also keeps some clean sheets here and there. So kind of a no-brainer as my defensive position with that attacking threat. And then up front, I've gone for Cunha back in the starting 11 in Game Week 34. Since coming back from suspension, I do think he's a shoo-in in terms of my striker position. Him and Isaac are pretty tempted on the free hit though. So that once again completes our triple up from Wolves. Now the last team to focus on is going to be Fulham, and currently going for Robinson. Now I might go for the spicier Sessegnon, but he did come off with a knock apparently in the Fulham game. Did rack up an assist for that Iwobi goal in Game Week 34. So at the moment, going for the more reliable Robinson will definitely start playing about 90 minutes against the first team to be relegated this Premier League season. Now yes, it is an away fixture, and Southampton have been scoring the occasional late goal recently, but I do trust that Fulham defense to be quite tight. Then my last 2 selections, it's going to be Iwobi. Might not be the most kind of outstanding FPL player, but I do rate him in this fixture. Then the last option, Raul Jimenez, with Muniz out injured. If he is injured for blank Game Week 34, Raul Jimenez will definitely be in my team. But if he's back to fitness, there might be some justification to not go for Raul Jimenez, as he might be subbed earlier. So this is kind of a pick to just wait and see for that press conference coming up late in the week. But if Muniz is still out, then I think Raul Jimenez is a great selection. I think if I wasn't to go for him, I might go for an extra midfielder or something like that. But as you can see from the overall structure, it's basically 9 players against relegation teams, plus Salah and Luis Diaz. I think Luis Diaz is probably the only position that we might see some variation. As mentioned, it's basically 10 players locked in, plus Luis Diaz. So if you guys want to go for another option besides him, that's understandable. As mentioned, a safe play is probably Mbeumo, but I think if you're going to go for Mbeumo against Forest, you might be slightly boring. It still might get you points though at the end of the day. Now as mentioned, my bench is going to be absolutely stacked. Currently, I've got Sanchez if Sarr's injured against Everton, still pretty respectable fixture. Then Cole Palmer isn't in great form, but I just want to flex that at so much money, so I've put him first on my bench. Finally, Trent as well, enough money to put him, great fixture potentially. Think there'll be a lot riding on Liverpool to win this one to secure the title at Anfield. Now he might not actually start this one, he was only subbed on after injury in Game Week 33, so we could see Connor Bradley here once again. Hopefully though, I'm not relying on too many solo appearances on my free hit, as that wouldn't be super optimal. Then the final player, Cucurella, I just went for a good selection, already had most of the good players in my starting 11, and like Sanchez, Everton's a good defensive fixture. So even with the stacked bench, I still had 2.0 million left in the bank, and that's because there are many premiums in my starting 11. I do think overall I like the team structure, target the newly promoted squads, and the probably relegation squads. Definitely is a plan I can get behind. But But you guys let me know how your free hit drafts are coming along. I'm pretty sure the majority of you should be on the free hit. But if you're not, maybe you go for some of these selections with those free transfers. Stay tuned for the team selection coming late in the week where I go over how double game week 33 went, as well as lock in my final free hit draft. Otherwise, see you guys in the deadline stream coming up on Saturday. Make sure those notifications are turned on so that you get notified when I do go live. And hopefully I'll see you guys over there. This is basically a video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Join the Discord server for the last few weeks, link in the description. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.